I answered a Craigslist ad I wish I hadn't. All right, so this story is still fresh, and honestly, it's kinda hard to talk about, but here we go. I'm posting here because I have no idea what else to do. I just need someone to hear this, and maybe tell me I'm not crazy. It all started a few weeks ago when I was browsing Craigslist. Yeah, I know, rookie mistake. But I'd just moved into this new place and I needed some cheap furniture. That's when I saw this ad. It was just a picture of a chair, but the post said something like, "Take this off my hands for free, pick up only, and I'll throw in a few other things too." Sounded good, right? I messaged the guy, and he replied almost instantly. He seemed polite, but kind of off, you know? Like he was too eager to give this stuff away. But I brushed it off. I mean, free stuff is free stuff. He sent me the address, and before I knew it, I was on my way there. The place was in this part of town I'd never been to before. It was one of those neighborhoods where the houses all seemed to stare at you with these empty windows, watching. His house was at the end of a cul-de-sac. The grass was overgrown, and the porch light was flickering. The whole thing felt like the start of a horror movie. I knocked, and after a weirdly long pause, he finally answered. This guy was strange. He was tall and thin, with skin that seemed just a little too tight, you know? Like he was stretching it over himself. And his smile, ugh. It was like he was trying to be friendly, but just didn't know how. He told me the stuff was in his garage, and without waiting for me to reply, he led me around to the side of the house. As I followed him, I noticed something weird. All the windows were covered in black garbage bags taped from the inside. I told myself maybe he was renovating or something, but still, weird. He opened the garage, and it was pitch black in there. He didn't even bother turning on the light, just stood there and gestured for me to go in. Against my better judgment, I stepped inside, and he shut the door behind me. Now I know how this sounds, and yeah, I should have noped out right then and there. But I was just curious. The only light was this weak beam coming through a small crack in the door. I could just make out the shape of the chair, and I walked over to get a better look. As I got closer, I started feeling this weird pressure in my chest, like I couldn't breathe. And then I heard it. A whisper, soft and slow, right next to my ear. I froze. I tried to tell myself it was just the guy messing with me, but then I noticed he wasn't in the room. I whipped around, but it was just me and the chair. The whisper got louder, clearer. It was repeating the same thing over and over. Sit down, sit down, sit down. And it sounded like a different voice every time. One sounded like a child, the next like an old man, and another like a woman who was sobbing. My legs were shaking, but I reached out and touched the chair. It was ice cold. And then, as if someone had flipped a switch, I couldn't move. My body was locked in place, and all I could do was stare at this thing. That's when I saw them. Fingerprints on the armrests, hundreds of them, dark and smeared, like someone had been digging their nails in over and over. I don't know how long I stood there, but finally I broke free, bolted out of the garage, and sprinted to my car. As I was pulling out of the driveway, I saw him standing there watching me, that same eerie smile on his face. He waved as if to say, "See you soon." I don't know what happened in that garage. I don't know what that chair was or why he was so desperate to get rid of it. All I know is that when I got home, I checked my phone, and every message from him was gone, like he'd never existed.